Good morning. Welcome to Kings Gap Environmental Education Center, or Kings Gap State Park. We're 8 miles south of the town of Carlisle in the south central part of Pennsylvania, just in the northern foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains. Kings Gap State Park has 2,600 acres of forested land and 25 miles of trail. And today we're going to be doing a 6.5 mile loop trail known as the Kings Gap Loop, or as I'll simply call it, the Kings Loop. And we'll be seeing a good overview of the entire forested area. So you can see it's early in the morning, it's 7:25 a.m. It's April 2nd. This is the first hike of the spring. And it should be a beautiful hike, and it's a beautiful day. And thank you for joining me once again for some nature, adventure, and discovery. 6.5 mile Kings Loop. Let's go get it. All right, guys, Gator out. Now, one thing I do want to point out about this hike is that this will be a series of smaller trails all linked up and connected together. I think like 7 or 8 trails. Because this is an environmental education center, there's lots of short interpretive trails. So it is advisable that you would use like the All Trails app. I also have a park map with me. They have those at the kiosks at the main parking areas. But I have read trail reports that say this hike can be difficult to follow. But if you have the app, which I have, you should be fine. But I would recommend you use it. So we're continuing up the trail here. We've gained a couple 100 feet of elevation, and the ridge tops here along South Mountain, which the area is locally known as, are very dry, primarily chestnut oak with some scattered pine and an understory of blueberry, huckleberry, and some mountain laurel. But we should be coming to the top of the ridge soon, and our first overlook. We've made it to the ridge top now, and this is really a nice little section of trail, a soft bed of pine needles on the trail, and some views out to the valley below. And I can see sections where the sun is coming out, so the sun's hiding somewhere behind a cloud, but it's coming out soon. This will be a really beautiful section if we can get a little bit of lighting. But I believe the main Vista point is just ahead. Now the view here directly in front of us, where you can see the sun a bit, that is Kings Gap, and we're parked down in that area, and we're looking generally north and to the northwest in that direction into the valley below. But yeah, it's a really nice spot. They got a couple benches here, and beautiful place. Beautiful little overlook there, and that's the proper way to get a morning hike started. And I spent a good bit of time there, but it's a bit windy up here, a bit chilly. So there's the sun again. So beautiful when it comes out. But we got a long ways to go, so we're gonna keep moving now and catch up with you ahead. Thanks for joining me. trail now has become an old woods road, clearly a wide rocky road, and we have passed a number of smaller trail junctions. So again, this would be a difficult route, a difficult loop to do without some sort of navigational aid, and I strongly recommend that. But it's a lovely hike, and I'm sure it would be even nicer once everything greens up a bit. But the one good thing about winter hiking is you do get, you know, views through the trees and really in all directions. All right, guys, the trail has just made a little dog leg, and we're now heading down the Maple Hollow Trail. But let me take this moment just to let you know briefly. I just recently started an Instagram account. I know I'm late to the party, but better late than never, right? So if you'd like to follow me on Instagram now, you can do that also. Just my name, Walter Zolna, Z-O-L-N-A, at Instagram. I'll be posting pictures and short descriptions of the hikes, and I'll probably be posting that before I actually post the YouTube videos. My goal is to try to grow a small presence on Instagram, and then maybe bring some of them people over to YouTube so they can actually see the full videos and really experience the beauty of scenic Pennsylvania, and then come along for the nature, the adventure, and discovery. So be sure to check me out there if you like. All right, enough of that, let's continue on. All right, so according to the park brochure, which, as I've told you in the past, Pennsylvania has the absolutely the best and most comprehensive park maps and guides of any state I've been to. But it says that in these drier upland forests, common bird species are woodpeckers, specifically pileated woodpecker, brown creeper, eastern wood peewees, and kinglets. But it's been very quiet out here, and I haven't really heard much bird life, and I haven't seen any people. I did see a couple deer, but that's been about it. I'm actually surprised at how quiet it is. I like it, but I am surprised. All right, my friends, we've been walking for a little while. The trail had us drop down a steep hollow and then come back up the ridge again. And I noticed this signage here. It's about rattlesnakes in Pennsylvania. So this is the first sign like this I've seen on any of the trails here. But we are going to be heading up in that direction, just on the little ridge there. So I would suspect that because this sign is placed here, that up on the ridge is a known nesting or denning area for timber rattlesnakes. Now, we're not going to see any this time of year, but this is probably going to be a rocky area up there, and there should be a vista up there as well. Well, that was our second little Vista point there, and I would have stayed longer, but it's just really windy and cold up there. But it was nice to see a freight train go by in the valley, and I tried to zoom in on the camera, and hopefully I'll get a little bit more of a close-up of it. But that sound of the freight train barreling down through the valley, that iconic sound of the horn, it's a beautiful classic Pennsylvania sound. So this section of the trail is just really awesome. My favorite so far. We are right on the edge of where it drops off down into the valley to our right. Then into our left, we're getting some views of the South Mountain Range and the interior forests. So yeah, this trail here is awesome. The Rocky Ridge Trail. This trail is continuing to provide expansive, gorgeous views down into the mountains there, and this is a real pleasant surprise. This is definitely a highlight of the hike. I almost feel like I'm back in the Pennsylvania Grand Canyon with these continual views. We are now dropping into Kings Gap Hollow. We will be crossing the road that we came in on this morning when it was still almost dark. You can hear behind me another freight train going by. If you like to watch trains, it's probably a good spot down in the valley there. But we'll be picking up on the other side of the hollow, and then there should be yet even more views looking down along the hills and ridges we've been just walking on. All right, so I just stopped at a little picnic table right along the road there we just crossed, and had a little snack, some like beef jerky, some a granola bar, some Gatorade, and now we're heading up to an overlook called Locust Point. So when we get up there, I'll get back with you. We've made it to Locust Point, which is marked as a scenic vista on the trail, but the vista is all grown over. You can see there's a couple benches here. At one point this was cleared, but there's not really anything to see here. So in hindsight, if I had known that, I would have followed up the stream from Kings Gap Hollow. There's a trail that follows up a stream. I would have followed that trail instead. It would have made a shorter hike, but this was a pretty steep climb to get up here, and a bit anticlimactical, so that's a bit disappointing, but sometimes that happens. So now it's documented. Now you know Locust Point on the Kings Loop. Not really anything here. Okay, so there must be a spring or a series of springs, because we were walking along the trail. There was no water feature discernible, but we finally come to a very shallow, very narrow waterway, and this is the headwaters of the creek. Clearly, look how clear that water is. Got our first snake, little gardener. First snake of the year, little garter snake. Well, all right, my friends, we have finally completed the 6.5 mile Kings Gap Loop hike today here at Kings Gap State Park. It's about 12:30, so we were on the trail for about 5 hours. It's a beautiful day, April 2nd. This is the first hike of the spring. It still feels like winter here, however. In the mountains where I'm from, it's more spring-like. But hey, it's always a blessing to be outside and to be out in nature. And it's also a blessing to have you join me as well. So it's still early in the day. I may head to another location. I may explore the park even more. I'm not really sure. But that's going to do it for this hike. And you know what I'm going to say. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like. If you have any questions or comments, let me know down below. I'll get back to you as soon as I can. And you know I appreciate hearing from you. You can also follow me now on Instagram. I'm getting my Instagram account up and running. And yeah, that's about it. So until next time, I'll see you on the trail. Gator out.